Veda number 24 today on crappy cell phone front camo vision because I forgot my camcorder today. So yeah, that's why you're getting the 4x3 at the moment, I assume. Yeah, so today's number 24, which should be coming out after all the Wade stuff that I pre-recorded, so we're finally rid of him for a while, but not entirely on this channel. Got some plans to bring him back in the main series, but anyway, so yeah, Veda number 24, I've got to say that the Vedas this year have been a lot more difficult than they were last year. Back in the echo chamber again, just quickly, although you've probably noticed by now. Yeah, I think it's because I ran out a lot of the generic topics last year. So now I've got to use my brain and think of some. But yeah, I mean, not that there's not some interesting stuff going on, but my opinions are just pretty much the same as the general consensus, not much to add. A big one was, I can't remember, but Jim Sterling did a piece on this website that was being crummy to its reviewers, and it's like, yeah, saying there's the G2A debacle that happened with Bulletstorm, and yeah, pretty much I'm in the same boat when it comes to G2A. It's a protection racket, it's got terrible ethics, you know, it's going on, bad business decisions, it's not a particularly nice company. To be honest, I think it'd be pretty smart of Valve just to allow key resale on Steam. I mean, in terms of sheer low prices, G2A could probably still compete with them, but hey, they just make it, make the Steam marketplace so that you can resell unactivated keys. I mean, because like everyone receives like gifts from friends and that, or they buy packages that game packages, multiple games that they didn't want. Yeah, like I bought it was the orange box, and I think a friend of mine had also bought the orange box earlier, so they gave me their copy of Half-Life's episodes 1 and 2, so I actually played through Half-Life 2 episode 1 before I played Half-Life episode 2, but yeah, so when I bought that, I had a spare one, and I had a bit of trouble getting rid of it because no one really wanted it. If Steam had allowed for a way for me to resell that key or that unactivated game, they could just put it on the marketplace, looks the same as buying items. Developers can opt in or opt out of that, and then Steam takes a cut, and the developer takes another cut. So I can double dip, and I'm pretty sure everyone would be just about fine with that. The developers would be fine, Steam would certainly be fine, and players would be fine because it lets them offload extra games. And what else? Yeah, they can download extra games, and developers get another cut, and someone else can actually play these games. And on top of that, Humble Bundle deals as well. I mean, I've got heaps of unactivated Humble Bundle keys that I've bought over the years. Like if I could sell those off for like $1 a piece and then buy more Steam games with it. And if anyone does try and do some bogus credit card thing, although they could make it so that you must have had the key for X amount of days before you can resell it, or something like that. Valve's probably big enough to be able to cover the loss and also come down on some of these people, which G2A is currently unwilling to do. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts on that. That's only about 4 minutes. So now for something completely different, as Monty Python would say, and just to go back to the subject that I talked about a couple of weeks ago of Disney movie remakes. It's the remakes of all the Disney movies that are happening recently, like Beauty and the Beast, which I talked about my opinions of previously, and we've had Cinderella, we've had that weird Maleficent one. It's like now it feels like they're starting to get into the swing of it. They found what works with Beauty and the Beast. So, while I say works, I still have my problems with it. It's about a half hour too long and a bit pretentious at times, but they found the basic formula for revamping. and I saw some of the movies that are on their list for potential revamps, and that included some pretty weird ones. First of all, 101 Dalmatians. Well, you kind of already redid that one, guys. You even gave it its own spin-off sequel. So, remaking that one again would be weird, because would you be remaking the remake? Would you be remaking the original again? When you get to 102 Dalmatians, which 102 Dalmatians you gonna do? You gonna do the first one or the remakes one? It's weird. Okay, so we get the same actors. I mean, you had some pretty good ones in the last remake, but that one's a bit weird. The one that really threw me for a loop was Winnie the Pooh. That is apparently on the list. The many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the original one. It's like, okay, there's a number of things I see wrong with the potential of Winnie the Pooh being remade. Now, I'm pretty sure that this was an official list. Might not have been, but to anyone thinking it might be a good idea to remake Winnie the Pooh, one, they've already done it. They did it back in either 2011 or 2014. They made a new Winnie the Pooh movie, new actors and all that. Two, why would you remake it when you can just make more Winnie the Pooh like you've been doing for years? It's one of Disney's longest running franchises, apart from Mickey Mouse. And three, I hope that they intend to remake it in, animated rather than real people, because that would just be, Winnie the Pooh with real people, could you do stop motion, maybe? CG, no, do not remake Winnie the Pooh in CG. They've done puppets with Winnie the Pooh, but I think CG would just lose all of its charm of the original, because it's deformed storybook, watercolor backgrounded aesthetic, which it's part of the reason why the original is so good. I mean, you can combine that with real life. We've been doing that since the beginning with the toys and the opening to the Tigger movie, and it's interesting if we can do it, but please don't go down any stereotypical route. But that's my problems with a remake of Winnie the Pooh. There was one movie I saw that we'll notice that wasn't on the list, and I think stands to benefit the most from a Disney remake in this current time. I mean, they're thinking of doing Mulan. Could be interesting. They're thinking of it will be interesting to see if they white that one up or not. They were thinking of doing 100 Dalmatians. There's Snow White. Well, that's a classic. You'd have to do a really you have to have a really interesting aesthetic to pull that one off, I reckon. And you need stellar actors to come anywhere near the charm of the original, I think. But the one that I think could benefit the most from a remake in this day and age is probably my least favorite movie of the Disney Renaissance. And a lot of people say that this is where the Disney Renaissance ended. Some people say it ended with Lion King. I think it truly ended with this one, before it turned into like the modern Disney, not like current modern Disney. We're kind of in postmodern Disney at the moment, but that was Hercules. This movie is pretty well liked. I do not like this movie at all. My girlfriend and I, we watched it because she was interested in watching it because she liked the song I Won't Say I'm in Love, because I put that on my mix CD for her that we did for I think it was Valentine's Day. Yeah, I made her a mix CD for Valentine's Day and I put that one on it because I like the song. She wanted to see it just to see the songs, and to be honest, that movie has some very good music. It's interesting to have the whole gospel music storytelling, and I think that kind of storytelling contributed to one of its biggest issues, and that is its pacing. Its pacing is absolutely terrible. It seems to show us all of the moments in the film except the development. Anything that could be classed as development of the story is just pushed into a song sequence. And while I think a lot of the songs are good, some of them are all over the place. Like I can't really name the character. Danny DeVito's song is absolutely terrible. I think it doesn't meld with any of the rest of the movie at all. But I think that with the current way that we're doing it, if we take the Beauty style of remaking, I think that movie stands to gain the most from a remake, because they could give it another half hour, because the original one was like 87 minutes, they could give it another half hour, bring it up to 2 hours, and make it a lot more fleshed out. A lot of the bits where they skimmed past, those are the bits they need to add on to. And because Disney was kind of in a transitory period when it came to CG, I think there were a lot of good set pieces in that which could stand to gain a lot from a modern visual overhaul. There's the Hydra fight, there's the battle with the water spirit, there are the Titans, there is Hell. A modern Disney look at Hell could be awesome visually. It could be absolutely awesome. So yeah, I can't wait for something like that. However, I think it'd be very easy to fall into a trap of giving too much time to the Greek gods. Getting ahead of myself. But I think it could be very interesting. I think it's very easy for them to fall into the trap of giving more time to these visual set pieces, which I think in the original had pretty much the perfect amount of time. I mean, maybe a bit more time with the gods would be nice, but all the fights and that. Because ultimately, and it'd be interesting to see if they stuck closer to the original story of the Seven Labors of Hercules, which the movie Hercules is certainly not a retelling of by any real stretch. It's really just its own story with the basic Hercules character, unless they cut out so much. But yeah, it could be really interesting if they can just flesh out the bits that were skipped over, keep the gospel music in there, because that could be really cool redone. Keep the big song numbers, but flesh out everything in the middle. I think it could make for a really good movie, because as it stands, I think it is a bad Disney movie. Overall, okay movie, bad Disney, very bad Disney. But yeah. And also on the subject of songs, an interesting addition might be a villain song, because out of the modern Disney Renaissance movies, I think, off the top of my head, Hercules was the one to break the trend of having a big villain song. I mean, when you look at the two movies, this was sandwiched between Hunchback of Notre Dame before it, and then after it, Mulan. Hunchback of Notre Dame had Hellfire. All the movies before that, Lion King had Be Prepared, Little Mermaid had Poor Unfortunate Souls. It's like all before this, there's all the big Disney villain songs, and then this movie broke that chain. Hades didn't have a song. There was nothing in Mulan. And then coming after that, what else was there? I don't think we had another good villain song all the way up until Princess and the Frog, which had a great villain song. I haven't seen the movie though, but the song is great. He's got friends on the other side. But yeah, imagine the character Hades. You got like a fast-talking American contemporary comedian to play Hades, and you just came up with a song that just has the rage of Hades, because he's a very angry character. If you could still that rage and get the guy from a Police Academy 2 to come back and reprise his role and hear his majestic voice. And hell, you could even get Danny DeVito to just sing his original song as is, even though it's terrible. It'd be cool to have Danny DeVito there. There's so much you could do with this movie, I feel, that it wasn't able to do the first time around. So I hope, and that's one of the reasons it's not as beloved as the movies either side of it. I don't think Hunchback of Notre Dame needs a movie, but I think it could also be very good, especially if they base it off the Broadway show, which I think they should, which they haven't shown doing much, but if they just made a movie version of the Broadway show, that could be amazing. Look that one up. And of course, Aladdin was also on the list, and that's got a Broadway show rather recently, so that one should be relatively easy to adapt, but unfortunately, the sad passing of Robin Williams will make that one less spectacular than it could have been. But, yeah, I mean, Dan Castellaneta, if they get him back, he's nowhere near managing it. And also, there's a race issue, because the blue is obviously meant to be black and... But anyway, so yeah, that's my thoughts on two issues. One on the G2A this year, and also on Disney remakes. So just over 15 minutes, so I ended off there. That has been Veda number 24. I'll have some interesting stuff coming up. I'll save my best to last, I hope. And here's to 6 more. See yous.